Lovers of the association. This is your guy Marcellus Ease, and we are definitely in for a treat. The NBA Finals have finally arrived, and it's signifying a changing of the guard. Very similar to Magic Johnson winning the NBA championship in 1980, signifying the modern era and his rivalry with Larry Bird. The 1991 NBA Finals, where Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls ushered in their reign as a dynasty. The 2000s NBA Finals with Shaq and Kobe, ushering a new dynasty and a new era of the NBA. The 2011 NBA Finals with LeBron James down in South Beach, ushering a new face of the league. And the 2015 NBA Finals where the Golden State ushered in the new era, some would say, of the analytical ball or just the fast-paced three-point shooting play style that we see today. But the 2024 NBA Finals is ushering a new generation of players, as it looks like we're beginning to usher in what I like to call the parity era, where at least the top 5 to 7 players in the league will battle year in, year out to reach the top of the NBA mountain. But I'm not going to say no more. Let's just get to it.
See, as you can see, the more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out. And also, if you stay down here and you never fuck around, you'll never find out.
Alcohol, right?
Now, to start things off, we're going to look at Jayson Tatum and his ability to play make, as that was something that hurt him in the previous finals in 2022, going up against Stephen Curry. In games 1 and 3, he was able to get the Celtics going, but eventually he stopped attacking the hoop, and it led to a lot of stagnation within the Celtics offense. So fast forward to game 1, and we're seeing him going right back to that formula. Tatum's ability to make passes like this right here without turning the ball over is going to be very vital in this series. And with the Celtics adding insurance in Kristaps Porzingis, is going to now leave him with the ability to have more spacing on the floor. You see Luka right here does not double team because KP has been a threat all game long from long distance. Al Horford is also a threat. Brown can score from 3 from time to time. And also Derek White is a threat from 3. So now Tatum is going to have the ability to take advantage of Kyrie and have plenty of space to operate in, as he's going to make the quick decision here. But Tatum did have his head on a swivel, making quick decisions, taking advantage of guys drawing attention to him. And also he was all over the glass, getting offensive boards and also preventing the Mavs from getting second chance points. But as we progress deeper into this series, Tatum will get different looks, very similar to what the Warriors did to him in Game 2 of the 2022 NBA Finals, in which he caused a lot of turnovers. He was very loose with the ball. And as soon as the Warriors started getting into a flow of Wiggins and Draymond switching and defending him, Tatum did not adjust well. He slowly started to dial back, settling for shots, which is something the Celtics offense has been criticized throughout the season, with just getting a little bit too comfortable. But in Game 1, Tatum did pile up 6 turnovers. And again, his performance was not that bad, because when you look at the turnovers, it was him actually trying to play make, something that he was not comfortable with in the Warriors finals, and the coverages started switching on him. So for Game 1, the quality of turnovers really came from him trying to play make for his teammates to get them open shots. So the 6 turnovers, we kind of got to judge that with a little curve. He did play according to the flow of the game. There is slight pressure on him to perform and prove that he could be a top 5 player in the league. But for the most part, that litmus test will really come when these games get tight and the Celtics offense will need him to play make. And we've seen hints of this in the part of the game in which I believe should be talked about the most, the Celtics stagnation in that third quarter. Once the Celtics offense stagnated, guys started missing shots. If you pay attention closely, every possession, Tatum is just parked up at the 3-point line. This is where some of the pushback with the Celtics during the regular season really comes from, with them getting a little bit too comfortable taking threes and being in that 5 spread out offense. And this run could have been a lot worse by the Mavericks, cutting this lead down from 20 to 8. It definitely could have been a lot worse because they missed a lot of open shots. So did the Celtics. I'll give them grace on that. But this right here is where Tatum has to shine. This is where he's going to get that superstar name, right here in these pivotal moments, because this exact scenario will show up throughout this series, and more than likely is going to reappear in crunch time in the fourth quarter. So even though KP was cooking in that first quarter, getting to his spots anywhere from 10 to 16 feet, and we all got to ask ourselves, what's going to happen when his post play begins to get stagnant? And White, Brown, Horford, what is Jason Tatum going to do in this exact moment? This is where he's going to have to prove the naysayers wrong, right here. Now, Tatum's partner in crime, Jaylen Brown, had a major impact on this game. Not only offensively, he was just blowing past everybody on the Mavs. He just got to his spots or just anywhere on the court that he wanted, which is something that he struggled with when dealing with the Warriors in the 2022 NBA Finals, particularly in Games 4 and Game 6. Klay Thompson, due to his injuries, was sort of out of his prime, but he used great instincts on Jaylen Brown, positioning his body in certain angles off the switch and taking advantage of Jaylen Brown's loose handles with the ball. And at times, Jaylen Brown was tunnel vision as he did miss guys who were open, but mainly that ball security was real important. And in game 1 right here, he's done a great job keeping these turnovers low, impacting the Celtics defensively by getting 3 blocks and 3 steals, just being all over Luka, just causing issues. The Celtics, they really even have to double team. And that's one of the contributing factors that led to Luka not necessarily having the open man for the corner 3 or just off the lob pass. So that energy level that Brown brought to the table was infectious with the rest of the Celtics players, and it led to great transition offense. But again, it's about the matchups, and the Celtics having that 5-man spread out offense is going to allow an athletic freak like Jaylen Brown to get to his spots and anywhere he wants on the court. It's going to be real difficult for a backcourt consisting of Kyrie and Luka defensively to keep up with those guys. There's just way too much space on the floor out there. But definitely game 1 was really all about Jaylen just being that high impact player, scoring very efficiently from the paint. And if KP continues to play well, spreading out that floor even more, it wouldn't shock me if Jaylen has a game in which he finishes with at least 8 to 10 assists. Now, Kristaps Porzingis was a thorn on the Mavericks sides as he killed them from the interior, getting to his spots, knocking down jump shots anywhere from 10 to 16 feet. Just him coming off the bench introduced brand new dynamics the Mavs have to get used to, as right here we're going to see Gafford, the center for the Mavs, kind of get used to in transition, going down and protecting the paint, not realizing that KP is going to stay up top because he could launch it from about 30 feet out. But with the spacing he provided, it did allow a lot of breathing room for guys like Jason Tatum to go to work. Look at all that space that he has because the Dallas defenders have to respect the 3-point line. He can just operate out of the interior, as well as Jaylen Brown was able to go to work on the Mavs defenders because they're not used to these athletic wings having this much spacing, especially in their last series going up against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Rudy Gobert, because his lack of offensive versatility, didn't really allow for that much breathing room to happen. And even at times with the T-Wolves kind of being inexperienced, they really didn't utilize the spacing the way the Celtics did in game 1 right here. And speaking of storylines, Kyrie Irving had it rough on his way back to Boston, shooting 30% from the field. And just him being that versatile guard who can operate off ball, make things happen for other players, pull up off the 3 or off the dribble, just a complete total package. This was a really rare performance, but he could take advantage of the Celtics with their transition defense. I know this season they have buckled down on that and gotten a lot better, but I am wondering how much of that uptake is due to the fact that they've been shooting great from 3. What happens when those shots don't necessarily fall in? And those 3-point shots are long rebounds, so that could lead to some transitional offense. And that's really where Kyrie Irving got into his bag, especially in the last series, and just overall as he pushes that pace for the Dallas Mavericks, one of the slowest paced teams in the league. And the captain of that ship, Luka Doncic, has always been able to cook on teams, manipulating centers off the pick and roll, either to make the pass or hit them up in the post game with a floater or 2, or even be on the lookout for the corner shooter. But in game 1 of this series, the Celtics were able to take away all 3. And it's a few things that kind of led up to this. As you could pay attention right here, you're going to see Lively guarded by Jaylen Brown. Now, Tatum from time to time did stick to Gafford and Lively, and this is to prevent that pick and roll lob threat. But also Luka was able to stick to a one-on-one defender right here. This is another way the Celtics avoided it. But in this play right here, we're going to see the KP dynamic, where he slowly take away Luka's ability to toss an alley to Derrick Jones Jr. or let him get into his floater game. See right here, Luka hits him with the shot pass, but Jones Jr. is not going to be able to finish on KP. Now Luka coming off the pick, we're going to see Jaylen Brown try to recover. Meanwhile, KP, little drop back coverage, you're going to try to get in his way, while at the same time kind of give him enough space to either try to draw up a little floater game, or KP can jump back and try to block him. But if you notice, there's never initially going to be a double team to kind of stunt in and fully leave guys like PJ in the corner for an open three. If you notice, KP gives him enough room to try to make a decision right here. Green is wide open. The Celtics are comfortable with that, but they're not trying to give up these slots right here. And also White right here has the ability to recover if needed be, but they're not necessarily worried about Green. As you see, they leave him open for a little hook that he does not convert on. But once again, pay attention to White right here, as once he stunts in to Green, he kind of quickly recovers to PJ. They do not want to give this up at all. Look at White. See, it was kind of a fake stunt the whole time, but him recovering back to PJ was always going to be the game plan. Now this is going to be a reoccurring theme with the Celtics not trying to give up the corner three and the lob pass to Lively. As we see KP right here, his job is just to be a deterrent at the moment, while White helps out with Luka, but he's going to get back and make sure Lively is not going to get this lob pass. Meanwhile, while White stunts in just a little bit, Horford is going to make his rotation to the corner. See, look at Horford, stunts into the corner to Derrick Jones Jr. Tatum stays on PJ. Now later on, we'll see when PJ is up here, how they guard the Mavs. It's going to be very, very different. But they really care about the corner shooters and this lob pass right here. Few possessions later, very early on, PJ tries to run a pin down on Jaylen Brown, but now we're going to see the looks look a lot different for PJ as he's no longer in the corner. We got Green in the corner, which the Celtics look a bit more comfortable leaving him there. But PJ in the last series from the corner was killing the Minnesota Timberwolves from three. But outside of those corner threes for PJ, he's starting to look like how he did when he first joined the Mavs after the trade. So right here, we're seeing the Celtics take away Luka's ability to be that playmaker, as they're comfortable leaving Keebler wide open as long as he's not on the corner. But Luka stays patient right here enough to make this pass. Now, interesting play off this inbound right here. Look at Luka. He looks at Lively. I know Luka's pissed right here because Lively, he has Horford. This is what Luka wants. Luka wants to pick right here so the Celtics could begin to sort of set a double team when he comes off that pick so he could start hitting his corner shooters or just whoever is open. But the Celtics have accounted to that, as they have no problem leaving Horford one-on-one out here with Luka. And I think this is something that catches the Mavs off guard in game one. But I think Luka, pivot for him in game two will be him being more assertive and just more aggressive. Because things like this, it doesn't necessarily bother him to score, but I think he might have looked to get other guys involved a little bit too much. But the Celtics right here, without that double, there's less guys open, and Luka really has to look for his ability to score. As right here, Lively messes it up, but there's no lob pass threat. There's no corner threes. There's no corner shooters. And it's looking like the Celtics are leaving Luka with no choice but to just go ahead and do him. So Luka coming off this pick right here, this is something that the T-Wolves right here was not comfortable with, leaving Gobert one-on-one with Luka in that series. But with KP here now, the Celtics, as we're going to see Jaylen Brown back off, they're not allowing Luka to be that playmaker to get other guys going. But Luka can make it happen on his own. And he's going to have to be that aggressive in game 2 of this series, because him making shots off that aggression is going to open things up for the other guys. Because at some point, if he's that hot, the Celtics are going to have to double team. But right now, very early on, they're going to sacrifice that to block his ability to play make for others. This right here in game 2 is where Luka's really going to make his adjustments right here. Take a look at KP. He's pointing because he is not going to follow Lively to get backdoored for alley-oop. But right here, Pritchard does a great job of preventing Luka from making this turn. Great job by Pritchard, and White knocks the ball away. But mainly, once again, pay attention to KP as he's pointing. He is not going to follow Lively. And he did this throughout this game. And right here is where the Dallas Mavericks are going to have to make their adjustments and possibly swap out Lively for Keebler, because he can make shots. He can shoot threes. They're going to have to stretch this floor even further, because the Celtics have Tatum off rip, either guarding Gafford or PJ in the corner, or even sometimes Lively. So just as they set up their offense, they got Tatum almost serving as one of the low men. And they're going to have Horford and KP not necessarily trying to fall for the high ball screens, so Gafford and Lively can go up top and get these alley-oop passes. But overall, the Celtics strike first in game 1. Jaylen Brown serving as the man that had the most impact, both on the defensive and offensive sides. And the return of Kristaps Porzingis served almost as a glitch in the matrix. With him coming off the bench, the Mavs really had no answer for his inside scoring, his three-point shooting, especially being the last man trailing, and really his inside presence defensively for the Celtics. He was causing a lot of issues for guys getting to the rack, such as Derek Lively, Gafford, and Derrick Jones Jr. But certain nuances that did play out in game 1 will come to the fold in game 2, particularly the third quarter run that the Dallas Mavericks had, in which Luka was way more aggressive offensively, and also that drought that the Celtics had. What exactly is going to happen when some of these shots dry up? Will he be that superstar that the Celtics fan base hope the rest of the league can recognize as a top 5 player? But until next time, you fellas stay safe. Peace.